George Navarrete. And number 26, Fernando Machado. And your favorite mascot, Dewey. And now,
Is there a storm warning brewing, or is there a surprise attack ahead? Find out as the Major Arena Soccer League presents the Florida Tropics as they host the St. Louis Ambush. Good evening, everybody, and welcome aboard, and welcome to the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida. Lakeland, about 45 minutes to the east of the Tampa region and about 45 minutes west of Orlando. The third year of professional indoor soccer here at the Lakeland Center as the Florida Tropics look to protect a perfect season and home opening record. They are 2-0 in home openers. They are 2-0 in season openers, and tonight happens to be both. Joined in the booth by Evan Weston, the radio voice of the Orlando City Lions of Major League Soccer. Evan, our second season together, the Tropics' third season overall, and the expectations this year are higher than ever.
Yeah, as we'll get into some new players, including a new goalkeeper that they're very excited about, new format in the league, new teams entering the league. It's an exciting time for change in the MASL, and for Florida, they hope a first postseason appearance.
So we'll see how it all plays out. The Ambush have already played a game. They were in Orlando last night and spoiled the Seawolves opener, winning in a shootout. We'll be back to set things up in just a moment. This is MASL TV.
So incredibly strong, it can stop these trucks dead in their tracks. Just turn on the water and watch the brass bullet inflate and expand to a full-size super hose. And when you're done, turn off the water and it shrinks back down to a lightweight pocket hose. This new brass bullet hose will never tangle or kink. Never. Get the incredible 25-foot pocket hose brass bullet today for only $19.99. And you'll also get the Turbo Shot jet nozzle free. Order now and you can double your order. Just pay a separate fee. Toss the old hoses away and grab a brass bullet hose today.
Call 1-800-355-7430 to get your brass bullet hose. Call or visit brassbullethose.com. So call 1-800-355-7430. Order now.
Have you been denied credit or hit with high interest rates? A low credit score happens to many of us, especially if you've struggled with medical bills, divorce, student loans, job loss, and more. And millions of people are victims of incorrect items on their credit reports and don't even know it. This leads to a lower credit score. That's why you need Credit Repair now. We'll communicate with your creditors and the credit bureaus to address unfairly reported items, late payments, collections, charge-offs, and even bankruptcies. And that can lead to a higher credit score. Our proven process has resulted in past clients seeing on average 11 negative items removed from their credit report and a 40-point increase after the first 4 months in our program. Start working on your credit today. Call now to start repairing your credit score so that you can work toward toward getting the things you want, like a new car, new home, an education, or new job. Plus, call now and request your credit report and credit score for free in minutes.
Call 1-800-776-1642. That's 1-800-776-1642.
Broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Just moments away from kickoff here tonight.
Plus America, brought to you by our friends American Heritage Girls Troop and Trail Life Troop. And now we ask you to please join us in a moment of silence for the recent passing of our beloved Tropics and Lakeland coach, Dean Johnson. Dean was a legend within the soccer community, coaching and impacting the lives of everyone he came in contact with through his experience, skills, wit, and good faith. He was one of a kind, and we will all forever be thankful for all he has done for the club and the community. Please join us in observing a moment of silence. Thank you.
And welcome back to the RP Funding Center here in Lakeland, Florida. We're just a couple of minutes away from kickoff between the Florida Tropics and St. Louis Ambush in this lid lifter for the Tropics in the Major Arena Soccer League. For those of you that might not be all that familiar with the indoor game, well, it is similar in one fashion, Evan Weston. You still can only use your feet, although if you're a goaltender, you can use your hands, but the rest of the rules are quite a bit different.
Well, sure, there's a roof over our heads. The field is about half the size, and the way it's timed is very different. In outfield soccer, you count up. In indoor soccer, we will count down. Think hockey a little bit, hockey with your feet. 4 15-minute quarters rather than periods, but it's an hour-long game. The timer is the timer. 5 field players with the similar line-changing style of substitution. The ability to have a power play with a blue card as opposed to a yellow card will give you 2 minutes with a man advantage. And of course, the ball is live, so whether it's off the boards, whether it's bouncing, wherever it is, as long as it's in the field of play somewhere, it is very much alive.
Taking a look at Hugo Silva, one of the key offseason acquisitions for Florida. He is in his 3rd season now in the MASL. Played the last 2 years in Harrisburg with the Heat. 2 years ago when Harrisburg was a really good team and made the playoffs, Hugo was the big reason. He had the 5th best goals against average in the entire league. Harrisburg was not very good last year. Hugo was still pretty good. The Heat did not make the playoffs, but the Tropics think they have a big upgrade in goal in Hugo Silva.
Well, I tell you what, the Heat would have been a lot worse without Hugo Silva. He's a major player, and his opposite number, Casey Clark for St. Louis, not their regular starter, but he's going to have to step up. More of a technical goalkeeper, is going to play more with his feet than Hugo Silva, who's just a monster on the other end at 6'2", almost 220 pounds, is a big shot stopper.
Played very well in Orlando last night. The Ambush played against the Seawolves and took a 5-4 decision in a shootout. And Clark, a big reason that they won that. He stopped Gordy Gerson, one of the league's leading goal scorers, on the 3rd shootout attempt. Here comes the Tropics with their first move into the St. Louis zone. Banged off the boards by Anthony Arrico, but handled easily by Casey. Monolaris will track it down in the midfield now. Challenged and taken away there by Almeida. Gets it back to Pepe. His last name is Junqueira, but he has Pepe on the back of his teal uniform. Almeida with it, being watched by Monolaris. We'll talk a little bit here about the players not on the floor tonight. Sounds a little bit unusual, but Tropics fans will notice immediately the absence of their 2 leading scorers from a year ago, Ricardo Dieguez and Freddie Mugin. Between them, they scored 50 goals, and they are not in the lineup tonight because of injury.
Yeah, Mugin in particular, such an important piece of this team, a playmaker as much as he is a scorer. He's a part of the coaching staff as well.
Here's a shot by Joanne Laidley, blocked that by the St. Louis defender. That's Douglas DeSantos, who played for the Heat last year, came over in a trade during the summer months with St. Louis.
And Dieguez just an explosive goal scorer. So between the 2 of them, this team is out almost
50 goals.
Yeah, almost 50 goals from last year.
Yep, they scored 141, and 50 of them came from those 2 players.
Yeah, and 39 assists to go along with it. So that's an enormous amount of production to make up. So there'll be a few guys that are into the lineup tonight, especially Guilherme moving from defense to forward. We'll see try to make up some of those numbers.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the Tropics lineup as we go. But 2 big losses, no question. Mugin is a short-term situation. They expect him back next weekend on that road trip to Toronto and Utica. The situation for Dieguez is a little more clouded. He has a sports hernia, a very minor one. It's not a major one, but he is in need of surgery and is still actually waiting for his insurance paperwork to clear before he can get it. Once he has the surgery, probably going to miss about 3 or 4 weeks. So practically speaking, don't count on Ricardo Dieguez probably for the month of December. Here's a chance for St. Louis now. In front, top of the arc, and good recovery by Monolaris. And help in there now from Caio Ruiz. Still loose in the box, and Silva will clear it at least to midfield to relieve some of the pressure.
Well, Teixeira was the one who got back and made just a crucial intervention. They had Reggett right through on goal. Zach Reggett, number 22. He was ready to and just couldn't control the ball in time. And by the time he did, Teixeira was there to at least alter the trajectory of his play.
Reggett and Monolaris battle in the corner, and Monolaris will clear it down towards Casey Clark in the St. Louis end of the field. It goes out of play, so it'll be a restart back in the St. Louis end of the field.
Florida is starting this game with a lot of pressure, Brian. They're trying to put numbers forward and flood the opponent's zone and be the more aggressive team. But if you commit those numbers forward, and Monolaris, a guy who loves to get forward from a defensive position, you're going to leave space in behind, and they'll have to watch out for that tonight.
Clark will drive it down to Gibson. He tried to lay it off for Axel Duarte, but it's intercepted. The Tropics will control. This is Lucas Cuttino, the Rookie of the Year for the Tropics last year, number 21, who plays it back to J.P. Reyes. Anything but a rookie. He is the most veteran player on the floor for Florida since Mugin is not in the lineup tonight.
They're very excited about Cuttino. Coach Clay Roberts saying he had an outstanding camp. They're expecting big, big things out of that young man. Scored 9 goals last year. Would like to see him hopefully get closer to 15, 20 on that number.
Really good 1v1 skills, and we'll see if he can take advantage of that tonight as the ball goes out of play, and the Tropics will get a restart in front of the St. Louis bench. Just over 11 minutes to go here in the first quarter. No score. Neither Hugo Silva or Casey Clark has been asked to make a really big save yet. Here's the ball into the St. Louis end, but the ambush will counter. Gibson tried to lay it off on the right side, intercepted, and the Tropics will take back control, and this is Ruiz.
When number 11's on the floor for St. Louis, Sergio Gibson, what a huge body he is. He's bigger than just about anybody that Florida rosters. They're going to try and get the ball to him in a favorable position and try to play over the top of this Florida pressure.
Victor Ferreras couldn't get around Almeida, and Almeida will pick it up on the boards and bang it out to midfield where Teixeira picks it up. This is St. Louis's best forward combination, Gibson and number 12, Clayton Mathias. You can make a pretty good argument that Mathias is actually their best player, and Gibson might be their second best.
And Pedalera, they call him.
Everton Moreira, the player coach, is not dressed tonight. Here's Guilherme trying to get position on the St. Louis defender and couldn't do it on the long ball in.
Well defended by McGee Souza. There's another big body in defense.
And speaking of being shorthanded, St. Louis without some of their big guns as well. We mentioned Everton not dressed tonight, the player coach who led the team in points last year. Rob Acosta, who was the MASL Defender of the Year last year for the entire league. He had 49 blocks. He is not on the trip. And Paulo Nascimento, who started 21 of 22 games in goal last year for St. Louis, he also not dressed. So you can make a pretty good case that both teams are missing 2 or 3 of their top players respectively. So somebody somewhere on both lineups is going to have to step forward tonight.
It's been a bit of a feeling out period so far too. Neither team really sniffing too much other than that one half chance for St. Louis.
Here's Cuttino, gives it to Laidley, right back to Cuttino. And now the Tropics will reorganize as Reyes has it out at the center circle.
Laidley want to tighten up that first touch just a little bit.
Yep. Coutinho will lay it down to Victor Ferreras. He had 27 points last year, 14 goals. Check that. That was actually Anthony Arrico, 22 in the corner with it. He too had a big offensive year.
He's got to be excited to be playing St. Louis so many times this season. Former ambush player himself.
Yep. As is Freddie Mugin, who is, we mentioned, not in the lineup tonight for the Tropics. Here's Guilherme. Lays it back to Monolaris, and now our first look, I believe, at Max Talut, the big off-season offensive acquisition for the Tropics. He'll wear number 4 for the orange and blue. Played the last 2 years out in San Diego, but a veteran of 73 career games in the MASL. He has 68 goals, so almost a goal a game average. Here's Ferreras down the right side, shot to go! Victor Ferreras with a rocket from deep in the left corner. And the Tropics have an early 1-0 lead.
And how about this, an assist for the goalkeeper Silva in his debut. What a ball over the top, and that's just a top-notch finish. That is one of the best finishes you will see. Such a tight angle from inside the dotted line to curve that one into the top far corner of the goal. An outstanding one-on-one play by Ferreras, and what a pass by Hugo Silva. That is not a pass that the Tropics have been able to anticipate from the goalkeeper position in their first 2 years in this league. That is part of what Hugo Silva offers you.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I believe he had 4 assists last year with Harrisburg, and he also scored a goal last year. Now, he is a guy that will come up and join the offensive fray, but the league rule has changed this year. Goaltenders are no longer able to possess the ball over the half-court line until the 4th quarter. So that is a new rule this year. Not that that is something that the Tropics would build into their offense, but Hugo will like to join the fray every once in a while and won't get really the chance to do that. But the fact that he can make outlet plays like he did is still going to be a big factor.
He's figuring out how to get around the rule, I'll tell you that.
Exactly right. So the Tropics get the first goal. Ferreras on the assist from the goalkeeper, Hugo Silva. This is Teixeira, gets it over to Anthony Arrico. Rico had 12 goals last year for Florida. That was a career high. In fact, he doubled his career best in goals. 6 was the previous high. Of course, he played a lot of the first season for Florida on the defensive end, and last year they were pretty good at defense, so they moved Anthony up to the midfield circle and responded with 12 goals.
Just a solid player, and they're going to need him to be.
Yeah, and he's a guy that could step forward tonight and be an important contributor with the absence of the Florida scorers. Handball against the Tropics.
It's great to see Ferreras get on the board this early too, Brian. He's a guy this year that is going to have to step up in terms of production, especially, again, with the cloudy situation around Diegues' injury. Ferreras may be the most naturally talented player on this team. He's an incredibly gifted, skilled player, and that's the sort of goal that they ask from him.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. Here's the restart for Ambush, and from distance, Felipe Silva has his shot blocked, and Arico will clear it out of play, but this will be a restart now for St. Louis at the top of the arc, which is a dangerous spot.
I like those instincts, though, from Guilherme to block that at the top there. He was a defender most of last year, but as you mentioned to me, Brian, he plays forward when he plays for Brazil, for the futsal team. A little bit of both that Florida's going to get a taste of.
Breaking the action, 6:49 to go. Florida 1, St. Louis nothing. This is MASL TV.
All right, fans, now it's time for your Serve Pro tip.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half-mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. In the park on a bench, on the beach on a towel, or on your couch with your kid, your campus is wherever you want it to be. You don't go to college. College goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. You schedule classes around your schedule, and all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. At Independence U, you'll learn from professional instructors with real work experience. You'll get personal support in school and employment assistance when you graduate. Get your degree, but keep your life. That's independence. That's Independence University. So if you're really smart, you'd call now.
Call 1-800-343-7292.
Independence U, for an independent you.
Call 1-800-343-7292.
Play underway, and on the restart, Silva with a long ball ahead to Toulouse. Toulouse over the goalie's head, and it hits the crossbar. Toulouse thought he had one and hit it underneath the crossbar, but did not cross the goal line. Great idea by the veteran goal scorer, and he just misses. Here's Toulouse again. Toulouse off to Joanne Laidley. Shot! Oh, and that just misses near side. Almeida will collect it for St. Louis, and the Ambush will control now in their own zone. Couple of great chances again for the Tropics right there.
Well, two outstanding plays by Toulouse. First, Silva again, just so heady. It was what we loved about him last year when we saw him getting the ball forward. Toulouse trying to chip it and hits the crossbar. And then that shot from Laidley actually ricocheted off the inside of the near post, but it was Toulouse with a smooth Cruyff turn in midfield to get through there. What a start for Toulouse. Incredible.
Here's Guilherme, and he is taken down, but no whistle. Looked like he might have lost his footing on his own, to be honest, so a good non-call by the officials there. I think it got tripped up by the yellow line. Happy to say we actually have yellow lines this year in Lakeland. They used to be red for the first 2 years, so hats off to the paint crew this year. And all the Tropics front office staff that's done a great job leading up to tonight. Big crowd in the house. Venture to say this might be a Tropics record here tonight.
It's a great house. Great job by the schedule, too, this year to get all these Saturdays.
Here's a chance for the Tropics. Ferreras, although they're going to do a line change. Ferreras gets it on the right side. Guilherme will take it off the boards and couldn't get much with the left foot.
Sort of an in-between ball there, Brian.
Yep.
It kind of caught him halfway.
Yep.
And really not too much he could do with it.
Yep, Ferreras led him just a touch too much, and as you mentioned, betwixt and between was Guilherme. Jose Luis Berche out now for the Tropics. He is wearing number 15 and is, well, he's going to take a short shift and head right back to the bench, as he is also new from the Harrisburg Heat, and although he's a defender, he's kind of an offensive-minded defender. He's got a big left-footed shot. We'll see him on a lot of restart opportunities and set pieces in the offensive zone. This is Reyes with it now, and he'll get it out to Silva, who will at least bring it out over his yellow line. He can still do that. There's the long ball down to Guilherme, tried to head it to Monaleras, and he couldn't control it as he was challenged in there by Antonio Monfoot, who is the Ambush's big offseason signing.
Still more wonderful distribution from Silva, though. I think this is going to be a weapon that the Tropics have not really had at their disposal before, that they'll be able to implement, and that gives you so much more that you can do. You know, goalkeeper is not a glamorous position in the outfield game. Really only get noticed when you do something poorly. That's not true in the indoor game. It may be the most important position on the field.
Yeah, good, very good point. Here comes Manfoot back for the ambush. Over the yellow line, long shot blocked by Toulouse. It'll be a corner kick coming up for St. Louis.
I like the Tropics' response to the goal. Often last year we would see them get countered fairly quickly. St. Louis actually did that to Orlando last night after the Seawolves had come back,
a big goal.
Tied the game at 3. They got the lead right back about 30 seconds later. So the Tropics have been very measured, very controlled. They've eased off the pressure just a little bit. And now again they'll have to defend a set piece.
Yeah, that was a very big moment in that game because momentum was clearly with the Seawolves at that point, and to come back just seconds after Orlando tied it. Here's a shot, and that just misses near post. Nice setup. And Moreira, who is in the lineup tonight, did dress at the last second, just missed.
Well, what a big change that is for St. Louis. He didn't play the first portion of the game, but after this,
here's a steal by Rico, and he just curves one wide of the far post.
After this media timeout, Everton, the head coach and arguably the best player for St. Louis, appears to be good to go.
Talked to him before the game, and he was a game-time decision, and I did not see him in the pregame introduction, so my apologies for that. But, yeah, that is a factor now for St. Louis, as he is clearly one of their better players lately with the pressure. Monalera steps up.
With how late it took him to get in, perhaps he might just be in there for set pieces. Or
yeah, that's a good point.
That was the first time we saw him, and it was to take that exact shot.
Toulouse is ridden off the ball. Dangerous in front. Here's Toulouse. Shot, and it blocked in there. Want a handball against Silva, but no call.
Well, that's a terrible giveaway, and boy, St. Louis is fortunate not to have given that one up.
They've had a couple of those, and they had a few of those last night, although Orlando returned the favor a number of times as well. Whistle on the play. Foul against the Tropics. Monaleras. They didn't give him a blue card, did he? No, I don't think so. Sometimes when you get in around the boards, the referees will err on the side of caution and pull the card for a penalty, but no call, just a foul against Monaleras. Definitely the Tropics have had the better chances here in the opening 15 minutes, but lead it still just 1-0. This St. Louis team has not had a lot of success in the last couple of years, just 4-36, but 2 of those 4 wins came against the Tropics, including a backbreaker here last January. The Tropics led in the fourth quarter 5-2, and St. Louis scored 5 unanswered goals to win 7-5. And that really was a game, when you look back at it, that really was pivotal and instrumental in the Tropics playoff
We
chase.
said it as soon as it happened,
yeah,
that was a game that would absolutely come back to haunt them.
Pressure again by the Tropics, but Manfoot will control at the midfield circle. Stolen away by Cuttino. Cuttino moving in. Cuttino shot missed. Partially blocked in front. Guilherme will pick up a loose ball.
Yeah, Clark got the right shin guard on that.
Was it Clark that got it?
It was.
Okay.
It was a save. It was a huge save.
Yeah, it was then, because it was ticketed for the far post.
I mean, and that's what the pressure can do for you. And Florida has forwards that are good enough to take players on one-on-one defensively and win balls in one-on-one matchups. And when you can create an imbalanced field like that, I mean, Clark is going to have a long night if this sloppy play in midfield continues for St. Louis.
Reyes couldn't challenge there as J.T. Thomas held possession. Now Manfoot with it. Over to Santos, back to J.T. Stinson. Stinson plays it into the box, and Reyes is able to clear it out of there as he knocked J.T. Thomas to the turf. It'll be a restart, though, for St. Louis at the top of the penalty arc, so we'll see if Everton comes out for this
there he is.
Restart, indeed.
79 in blue, and so that I mean,
he's not going to take a regular shift.
I'm making an educated guess, but it certainly looks like that's the plan.
There's a shot blocked by the Tropics wall, perfectly positioned. As we get down to the final minute, Guilherme with the pressure. Guilherme, and it's finally knocked back by Mateus to his goalkeeper, Casey Clark. Long through ball controlled by the Tropics. Reyes will track it down. Watched over there by Riget. He had an interesting night last night. Riget was a star player at a university up near Chicago where Peter Sliwa was his coach. So coach and player were against each other for a while last night in Orlando. And, of course, Sliwa, the Tropics goaltender the last 2 seasons, he got hurt in the first half of that game and did not return. So
great play through the midfield there by Florida.
Whistling a foul against St. Louis, I believe.
Looked like Reyes got tugged. So. And now Everton is right back off.
Yeah.
It looks like he's going to be out there for set-piece specialty situations tonight.
Well, if you had to pick somebody to do it, he's the guy.
That's a great weapon for them to have, even if he's not 100%.
Laidley trying to track it down in the corner. Laidley with his body lays it off. Shot, goal! Hard work by Joanne Laidley, and Lucas Cuttino picks up his first of the season. The Tropics are on top 2-0.
I can't get over what a great play that was by Joanne Laidley. The hold-up play for as long as he did. That was a good 4 or 5 seconds. He waited and waited and waited. Watch how long he holds this up. Nobody closes him down. Cuttino makes a great run. St. Louis has to get more pressure on the ball there. You've got 13, Alex Duarte, totally in no man's land. That allows Laidley to use his strength, his core muscle, to hold the play up. Coutinho makes a great run, and it's an easy goal.
Yeah, and a great decision by Coutinho to cut it back to the far post because Clark was sliding across. He was thinking Coutinho was going to go to his left, and Coutinho went exactly the opposite way.
Perfect forward play there by Coutinho. You want to go across the goalkeeper, away from his movement. He cuts across his defender as well. That's just a great goal for Florida.
One more look as we take a break between the first and second quarters here in Lakeland as the Tropics, Joanne Laidley, the smallest guy on the team at 5'3", sets up his line mate Coutinho for the goal. It's Florida 2, St. Louis no score. You're watching MASL TV.
But always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Stop. Living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald, but there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
It was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
Victor Ferreras and Lucas Cuttino are the goal getters so far for the Tropics as they start their third season here tonight in the Major Arena Soccer League before a big crowd at the RP Funding Center. We'll see if St. Louis has an answer here in the second quarter. These two teams will get pretty familiar with each other this season. The MASL has gone to a very strict and very tight divisional schedule this year, so 20 of the 24 Tropics games this year will be against the MASL South Central Division.
South Central.
Yeah, the South Central.
Your division
Well,
has Lakeland and Orlando,
yeah,
Florida,
yeah.
Kansas City, Missouri, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It tends to lose all geographical meaning.
South Central is the best they could come up with, but what it means is the Tropics and St. Louis will play 6 times against each other this year. The Tropics and the Orlando Seawolves, which I think is going to be a tremendous rivalry, will play 6 times against each other this year. Then the Tropics will have 4 games each against the Kansas City Comets and the Milwaukee Wave, one of the favorites to perhaps win it all this year in the MASL. They are at least in the early going and on paper the team to beat in the division. And then 4 other games against the other Eastern Conference teams. Here's a header try by Manfoot, and not a difficult save for Silva as he was able to track it down. So those 4 games, one will be against Baltimore here, one will be against Harrisburg here, and then 2 on the road next weekend, as a matter of fact. Saturday against Mississauga, that is the Toronto club, new this year in the MASL, and then Sunday afternoon against Utica City FC, which is the Syracuse Silver Knights that fans may remember relocated about 40 miles down the thruway to the east in New York to Utica. So that is how the schedule shakes out. So 12 of the 24 games in total will be against either St. Louis or Orlando. So every game really it has playoff implications and postseason written all over it, because a game here in December will be just as important in terms of the division standings as they will be in March and April. Here's a counterattack for St. Louis and a dive by Silva as the ambush with an early push forward by McGee Souza.
They're going to call a foul on Souza. And looking a little bit chippy here from St. Louis, and they kind of lost their way after the goal. They were having some success getting in behind, getting it over the top of the Florida pressure. Florida's eased back a little bit. Now they're chasing the game. I think St. Louis has to make an adjustment here.
Well, the Tropics, part of their game plan, no question tonight, was to pressure at every opportunity, thinking that they would have the fresher legs, and that certainly seemed to be the case, at least for the first 15 minutes.
Well, you got to remember, they played a 70-minute shootout game last night in Orlando, whereas this is the opener for Florida, and they're at home. It puts them at an enormous advantage, and they've taken control of it so far.
Here's Toulouse with it along the far boards as the Tropics will change on the fly, gets it down to Laidley. Laidley turns, is taken down. Here's Toulouse, he bangs it off the boards. Rather, that was coming in. Victor Ferreras. Here's a long ball from Berche, and it goes well over the glass into the crowd.
Talk about that heavy left foot. We got to see it for the
That's
first
a
time
little far.
But, Brian, when you talk about, forget the score. If you give Clay Roberts that quarter every single time, he will take it. That was a professional, composed, experienced performance. One that we didn't see nearly often enough the first 2 years here, that I think this roster in particular, especially when they get Freddie Mugin back, is going to have the ability to put out much more often.
Yeah, I agree totally. And this is not a game that the Tropics are probably going to put in 8 or 9 or 10 goals tonight. If they got 5 or 6 and won it, 6-2, 6-3, somewhere in that area, they'd be more than happy to put that on the resume to start the season. So they know that they're shorthanded, but they know they've got guys that can step up, and we've seen it here over the first 15 minutes. Teixeira will play it back to Silva now.
I love what we're seeing out of Laidley, too. That's a weapon that they have in him, a center forward who can hold up play. Remember, in the indoor game, you don't have to be 6'2" to play center forward. If you've got the size, you've got the technical skill, you are more than good enough, and Joanne Laidley has proven that so far.
Yeah, and the key for Joanne is he's healthy. He had 7 goals his rookie year, and he did not play every game. Here's a through ball now for St. Louis into the Florida end. Thomas with it. A shot goes high and wide.
That's not good enough
Nope.
for St. Louis. They've got to create better chances. Right now, they're just trying to, get in over the top and hit them on the counter. But against a defense that's this composed and against a goalkeeper that's this good, they're going to have to get higher percentage looks than what they've gotten so far.
Yeah, it was Corey Adamson who took the shot. He had 14 goals last year, but that was not one of his better strikes. Lately, what happened to Dwayne is in between his first season with the Tropics 2 years ago and last season, he broke his leg during the summer playing soccer before last season, and he really was not healthy. He did have a couple of appearances last year with the team, but he really wasn't truly Dwayne Lately, which speed is his asset along with his work ethic, and for the first time really in a couple of indoor seasons, he's now healthy again. Long ball through to and Lately almost had it picked. There's a shot by Berche, and that's blocked in there nicely by JT Thomas. A shot, and that one just misses. Lately again gives it to Berche, and Berche will reset the offense.
Arico's got his hands over his mouth. That fell perfectly for him. He swung through, he got all of the ball, and just missed the inside of the near post. It's heartbreaking for Arico. That fell absolutely perfectly towards him. And again, really sloppy play out of the back for St. Louis.
That's the third time that the Tropics have hit the woodwork here in the first 20 minutes. Tropics had numbers there, but a bad bounce off the boards. And it'll go out of play.
And a car accident or personal injury, then look to Brooks, our official injury attorneys. Go to BrooksLawGroup.com.
Tropics will come through the midfield now. Here's Arico.
And Arico wearing the armband tonight with Nugent out against his former team. Oh, that would have felt really good to swing through and take complete control of this game.
And that is something that Clay Roberts spent a lot of time this preseason in training camp talking about, some of the expectations and leadership, and to that end, he's actually kind of named a leadership council, if you will. So the captaincy will kind of rotate a little bit during the season depending on the game and what the team decides. But Anthony Arico, one of those, Victor Ferreras in there, Dieguez when he plays, JP Reyes, Lucas Teixeira, all part of that captain's council, if you will, this year for the Tropics. Here's a chance in front, but Ferreras will come in and get it away from Pepe before Junqueira could get to it.
And more composed professional defending from the Tropics. Everybody was marked. Everybody knew what their responsibility was. And subsequently, no real threat from St. Louis.
Yeah, the Tropics could easily have a couple more tonight if it wasn't for the goalpost or the crossbar. They have been that close. And Toulouse will do the restart. He's one of them that hit the crossbar. Silva with the long ball again to Lately. Lately being shoved in there. Layoff now to Monolaris. That shot is blocked. Lately tries to keep it alive, but the ambush will clear the zone. De Santos gets it back to the Florida yellow line. Well, Joanne Lately's going to sleep good tonight. He's already put in yeoman's effort, and we're a quarter and a half in, and he's going to, nope, not going to get through to him this time. Man-foot, but Reyes steps up and keeps it in play. Lately will track it down in the midfield line over to Berche, back to Lately. He collides in there with Souza. Here's a chance for the Tropics now. Through ball by Ruiz, and Clark able to corral it off the boards. Kyle Ruiz making his debut for the indoor team. Was one of the leaders of the Lakeland Tropics of the USL's PDL this past summer.
It'll be USL League 2 next year.
Yes, now officially rebranded as USL 2. The Lakeland Tropics will be a member of that next summer.
Very exciting change in American soccer right now in the indoor and the outdoor game.
Yeah, lots of good things happening, no question about it. Here's Manfoot. Long shot, never got through, blocked by Teixeira. And Ruiz will play it back to Silva, who knocks it back out to the midfield line.
No panic, very confident defending. I think Clay Roberts has got to be very pleased with what he's seen so far.
Here's Stinson with it, 1 against 3. Rather, that was Thomas. And Thomas going to be whistled for the foul as he took Maicon Franca down. Franca spot shifting, wears number 12. Also, Dwayne Lately sized at about 5'3". Speedy player, and he can score. Here's Arico being challenged by Adamson. Arico gets through quickly, but Adamson cuts him off in the corner. Arico gets it back on top to Berche. I will say the Tropics have the smallest names on the back of their jerseys I've ever seen.
I think the numbers grew in size this year.
Yeah, that's good, but yeah, don't look for the names that stand out on the backs because they're not in real big font. Here's Arico with it, and he'll.
I will say though, as a Syracuse Orangeman myself, I am a big fan of the color pattern.
Play on, says the officials. Toulouse will bring it in over the yellow line. Toulouse tried to go far post and missed it quite a bit. Here's Berche on the rebound in front. There's a shot and a chip by Guilherme, and that just missed.
Oh, Guilherme's got to put that on target. He's going to want that one back. What a pass by Berche, and there's a perfect example of a defender in the indoor game setting up offense. Beautiful off the boards, just a beautiful sitter here for Guilherme. Watch how well this sets up for him. That's got to be on target there by Guilherme, and he will, if he sees that film, he's going to want that one back.
Breaking the action, 7:45 to go in the first half. It's Florida 2, St. Louis nothing. You're watching MASL TV.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. In the park on a bench, on the beach on a towel, or on your couch with your kid. Your campus is wherever you want it to be. You don't go to college. College goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. You schedule classes around your schedule, and all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. At Independence U, you'll learn from professional instructors with real work experience. You'll get personal support in school and employment assistance when you graduate. Get your degree, but keep your life. That's independence. That's Independence University. So if you're really smart, you'd call now.
Call 1-800-343-7292.
Independence U for an independent you.
Call 1-800-343-7292.
Tropics still holding a 2-0 lead with 7:45 to go in the second quarter, and Alabama has come back and defeated Georgia, we understand. So I guess the playoff picture, chaos will not ensue.
Oklahoma fans going to sleep very well tonight.
Well, as an Ohio State alum, not all that happy to see the
you've got an
Oklahoma-Texas outcome.
Outside shot if
very outside.
Pitt pulls off a miracle, but even then, I don't know that you would actually get it.
Here's Franca along the far boards into the St. Louis zone. Shot off the boards, and Laidley had a chance from the top of the box, and he put it high and out of play.
Now, that is not one you have to put on target. It would have been really impressive if he did. That comes high to him. Oh, he's got to swing his leg a little bit higher, but what an incredible play to even get there, and more good passing off the boards by Florida. Without Freddie Mugin, it's nice to see other players and players that were not on the team here, new faces, step up and make those kinds of plays.
And one of the reasons we may be seeing that is the Tropics had more indoor practice time this training camp than any of the two previous years. A lot of fans, I'm sure, around the league do not realize there is no indoor soccer facility here in Lakeland. So if the Tropics want to practice indoors, they've got to travel either to Tampa or Orlando, 50 miles one way, depending on where they're going. And so the fact that they were able to train more inside this year because the arena here was set up the entire week before this opener tonight with the field. So they did do some practice time at one of the facilities in Orlando a couple of weeks ago, and then basically this whole week before tonight's game, they've been able to train here at the arena. And that is, I think, made a difference. Here's Gibson at the top of the arc, 1 against 2. Gibson with control. He's using his body as a screen. Nice block in there by Teixeira. as Stinson tried to pull the trigger.
That's the first time that St. Louis has actually gotten Gibson isolated up top and allowed him to hold things up, and nobody for St. Louis is making a run.
Yeah, the Tropics had 2 men on him, and a lot of times when Florida's making an entry pass, here's a shot and a save by Silva. Again, not a tremendous shot by DeSantos, but a good save by Silva nonetheless, as he was well positioned on the near post.
Silva, he's going to make those every time. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the league for a reason.
Almeida whistled for a foul against Toulouse, I believe.
When you get a guy like Gibson, though, and you've got this big hold-up forward who can attract attention, his teammates have to make runs off the ball to get in open space. That hasn't been happening so far.
Ball through to Laidley. He and Clark collide. And knocked over the near boards by Teixeira.
I think Everton will be very disappointed that his team isn't getting more space. Everything's just sort of being played to the corner, and when Florida can then sit back, bunker 4 in, and then start their counter.
One of the other noticeable things that's a little different is when St. Louis is making that long entry pass to the target forward, the Tropics very often have 2 men on that player. St. Louis very often has only had 1. Here's a chance again, but knocked away by one of the Tropics defenders and back into the midfield zone. So St. Louis will regroup with DeSantos being watched by Laidley. Teixeira now with some pressure on Matthias. Gets it over to Sousa. And into the offensive third now for the ambush. Thomas gets it back on top for Sousa. Santos with it now. He's being challenged. Here's Almeida with the ball off the boards in front and nicely cleared out of there. But St. Louis will intercept. There's a shot. Oh, and a good save. Best save of the night for Silva. Almost found the 5-hole as Matthias let it go from about 35 feet.
Well, that was hard for him to see because he was screened off. And Laidley, who's been great tonight, made his first real mistake with a pretty poor clearance that fell right to St. Louis. Maybe you want a little bit of a better shot there, but Silva, without a clear path of vision, still able to get that right leg down and make the stop.
Franca one-on-one at the yellow line, has Ferreras with him, now gives it off to Victor. Down into the right corner to Guilherme. Guilherme dribbles around, and a good defensive recovery by DeSantos as Guilherme steals it again. Step up by Monolares to keep it in the St. Louis zone, and now played all the way back to Silva as the Tropics needed to get some fresh legs out there.
You see that slick futsal dribbling there by Guilherme. That's what they're going to look for from him down here. Here we go again.
Guilherme with it, lays it off to Monolares, back to Guilherme. Guilherme deep in the corner, in front, Monolares, shot to go! Lucas Monolares on the score sheet, and the Tropics lead at 3-0.
Well, how does Monolares get this open? All right, so Riget he's got to stay with him. Riget is trying to help Clark by blocking a potential pass through here, but nobody steps up to close down the goal scorer. And there's Monolares with acres of space at the restart line, and he scores easily.
Yeah, DeSantos was late in getting there from help in front of Clark, and yeah, that was well executed. And again, another play off the boards for the Tropics to set up a scoring chance that this time they convert.
That's a practice goal for Florida, and St. Louis will be extremely frustrated with these defensive lapses. They have been at fault, in my view, for 2 of their 3 goals that they've conceded tonight.
So St. Louis desperately looking for one here in the final 3.5 minutes. It's been pretty much all Tropics here tonight. And if it weren't for Clark with a couple of good saves, here's a long ball by Adamson, and again, very coolly and calmly played by Silva.
I think Silva's going to make himself a fan favorite here. He's a spectacle kind of player. He'll make the great plays. He's got the offense. And we were wowed by him last year, and already tonight, he's added such a calmness and a composure to this team. This feels like a more veteran and experienced, playoff-ready side than we saw at any point last year.
And I think Clay Roberts would agree with that. 3-0 Tropics, but a long, long way to go.
Well, we know against the St. Louis team in the past, leads have come and then they have gone.
Manfoot with it on the near boards like last January when they scored 5 in the 4th quarter. Good play by Guilherme, who
2 years ago, the lone win for St. Louis, both times last year and the year before, rallying from down 5-2.
Yeah, and the Tropics led that one 5-2 as well. Here's another shot again blocked before it ever got through to Silva, and Toulouse will have it.
Well, I guess the goal is not to allow 2 goals. Then you can't be up 5-2.
Right. Well, if history is any indication, the final tonight should actually be 6-5 because that is the exact same score in which the Tropics have won their 2 previous home openers. Of course, that spectacular win over the vaunted San Diego Sockers in this team's first ever game. The Tropics rallied from a 3-goal deficit in the 4th quarter to win that one. And then 6-5 last year over Cedar Rapids. Top of the arc restart here for the ambush, and Everton's going to lay it off to Adamson, and that never got through. Of course, one of the fun aspects of the game, and St. Louis is doing it right now, is changing on the fly, just like you can in hockey. Don't have to wait for a stoppage and play to get fresh troops on the floor, but you have to be careful not to get extra ones out there. Good save by Silva that time as a bid to the near post was made. Shifts will last about a minute and 15. Here's Laidley. Tried to hit it on the volley from about 40 feet and didn't get the ball as cleanly as he wanted. Good comeback help by Arico here. Crane out there for the Tropics as well. And it's Crane that loses it. No, and now we have a whistle finally. Looked like Manfoot might have had a chance to get in on goal, but the foul was called. A lot of hockey strategy, a lot of basketball strategy, actually, in terms of plays, give and goes and pick and rolls, things like that in the indoor game since it's 5-a-side. So if you're really looking for a sport to compare it to strategically, basketball is one. Here's Teixeira with the top of the arc, and that's blocked. Good defensive work that time by the ambush, but we'll get a kick in here from the near sideboards.
And it does look like the ambush are bunkering in a little bit more here. They've been caught a couple of times now by Florida over the top where the Tropics created goals off their pressure. But more great midfield passing by the Tropics as well.
Teixeira on the restart, and Herrera, Everton, if you will, blocked it. Here's Teixeira over to Maicon Franca with a header, and Casey Clark had it read well. Good idea. Here's a chance for the ambush, and Hugo Silva going to come out and kick it out of play.
Nearly a spectacular
just about taking
goal.
out Ivan Lambert from the Lakeland Ledger in the same process.
What a series.
We don't usually have to worry about balls like that up here.
A series of headers by the Tropics there, though, and
that was fun. Yeah.
Franca, unfortunate that Clark was ready for it because boy, that would have been spectacular.
Yeah, that was a little tic-tac-toe, and Clark had it read perfectly. Here's a chance for the Tropics to make it a 2-on-1.
How good is
it's
Arico
Guilherme.
tonight?
Guilherme is going to take the long shot and go! What a bomb by Guilherme! De Santos and Florida leads it 4-0.
Again, pressure. Create a turnover. Arico finds Guilherme in tons of space, and that is a world-class finish by Guilherme. Casey Clark had no chance at that.
I told everybody this weekend I have 2 bold predictions for the weekend. One is Guilherme was going to score tonight, and the other is Utica's going to beat Baltimore tomorrow in their home opener. So we'll see.
You're 1 for 2.
I'm 1 for 1 at least, so we'll see about tomorrow. But what a strike by Guilherme.
If you hit 500, you win the batting title. I mean, and we didn't get to see it, but the pass from Arico, just a clean, again, taking somebody on one-on-one, not being afraid, playing brave, making that takeaway, and then playing your man into open space. Tremendous pressure defense by the Florida Tropics.
Final minute of play here, down to 30 seconds to go. St. Louis perhaps hoping to stem the blood flow a little bit here. It has been all Tropics.
It's been as composed an opening night performance as you will see. Clearly St. Louis a little bit tired, but I think
Gibson will bang it off the boards, and
I think there's a
Silva
definite
will
talent gap here too, Brian. I think Florida just is the better team. They've been completely dominant tonight.
And a legs gap. I think Orlando saw last night that St. Louis got tired in the second half and having to come right back here tonight and do another home opener against an inspired Florida team. A difficult assignment for the St. Louis ambush, and it showed in those first 30 minutes. So 2 goals in the first quarter from the Tropics, Victor Ferreras and Lucas Cuttino with the goals. Guilherme puts a wrap on the second quarter with his big shot from 50 feet out to give Florida a 4-0 lead. We are at halftime at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida. It's the Florida Tropics 4, the St. Louis ambush nothing. Back in a bit on MASL TV.
The fabric in this bulletproof vest is so strong, it can stop a speeding bullet. The fabric in this bulletproof vest is so strong, it can stop a speeding bullet. And this biaxial braid fabric is so strong, we decided to build a hose out of it. And here it is, the brand new Pocket Hose Brass Bullet. So incredibly strong, it can stop these trucks dead in their tracks. Just turn on the water and watch the brass bullet inflate and expand to a full-size super hose. Then when you're done, turn off the water and it shrinks back down to a lightweight pocket hose. This new brass bullet hose will never tangle or kink. Never! Get the incredible 25-foot Pocket Hose Brass Bullet today for only $19.99. And you'll also get the Turbo Shot Jet Nozzle free. Order now, and you can double your order. Just pay a separate fee. Toss the old hoses away and grab a brass bullet hose today.
Call 1-800-355-7430 to get your brass bullet hose. Call or visit brassbullethose.com. So call 1-800-355-7430. Order now.
Have you been denied credit or hit with high interest rates? A low credit score happens to many of us, especially if you've struggled with medical bills, divorce, student loans, job loss, and more. And millions of people are victims of incorrect items on their credit reports and don't even know it. This leads to a lower credit score. That's why you need Credit Repair now. We'll communicate with your creditors and the credit bureaus to address unfairly reported items, late payments, collections, charge-offs, and even bankruptcies. And that can lead to a higher credit score. Our proven process has resulted in past clients seeing on average 11 negative items removed from their credit report and a 40-point increase after the first 4 months in our program. Start working on your credit today. Call now to start repairing your credit score so that you can work toward getting the things you want, like a new car, new home, an education, or new job. Plus, call now and request your credit report and credit score for free in minutes.
Call 1-800-776-1642. That's 1-800-776-1642.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Back halftime in Lakeland, Florida at the RP Funding Center. The Tropics with a 4-0 lead over St. Louis. A very good 30 minutes for the Tropics here in their season and home opener. And as we mentioned, St. Louis playing their second game in as many nights, and perhaps that's showing a little bit with the Tropics' dominance in those first 2 quarters. We'll take a look at the highlights here in just a moment as Victor Ferreras got things going for Florida. Dewey leading the cheers coming out of the tunnel for this big crowd here tonight, and here's Victor's first goal, Evan.
Well, Dewey had a lot to cheer about, right? Hugo Silva in his first play as a Florida Tropic getting an assist, and Ferreras with an exemplary finish. Not the last one we would see in that first half for Florida.
Yeah, some great precision shooting by the Tropics. Here's a near miss by Max Touloud, who thought he had one, and you can see it came down and just hit the goal line after kissing off the crossbar. Toulouse, again, with a chance in front, thought maybe get a handball there against Silva, but no luck.
Here's the hold-up play by Laidley that I thought was so fantastic, and then Cuttino with a professional finish, making a great run. Reget we saw get caught in no man's land a couple of times defensively in that first half.
Yeah, Dwayne Laidley really had a terrific first half. Great to have him back on the pitch, and the little man came up big right there for the Tropics to make it 2-0, and then there's Arico just missing off the post. The Tropics hit a couple of posts, and then a crossbar to boot. A chance for Guilherme in front, but
that
he
should have been a goal. He'll make up for it, though, don't you worry.
Yeah, and Laidley just missed one there. As we said, the Tropics easily could have had 2 or 3 more. Silva with one of his saves, not severely tested. There was his best save.
Yeah, it was the best chance for St. Louis. A bad giveaway by Laidley, but Matthias couldn't get it past him.
And here's the goal by Monaleros, again set up by Guilherme along the near boards and right between Clark's legs, I think, on the shot, and that gave the Tropics a 3-0 lead at that point.
That's the one St. Louis will want back the most. Poor defending, way too much space for Monaleros.
And then at the 14-12 mark, the big goal, the huge shot by Guilherme. Here it comes on a 2-on-1. Guilherme right at the yellow line, just a bomb into the upper 40. Clark just did not have enough chance to respond. It was struck so quickly.
And a great takeaway and pass by Arico to set it up. Tremendous, composed, professional pressure defense from Florida. It's leading to goals, and it's led to a dominant performance.
Yeah, and it's interesting with Guilherme because, as Florida fans know, when he joined the team about a third of the way through the season last year, he played defense mainly because the Tropics simply did not need him up front, but he plays professionally in Brazil in that country's top futsal league, and that is the top futsal league in the world, and he plays forward in Brazil, so he knows what he's doing around the net. Halftime here in Lakeland, it's Florida 4, St. Louis nothing. Back in just a minute. This is MASL TV.
Stop living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald, but there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now. I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
It was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half-mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. In the park on a bench, on the beach on a towel, or on your couch with your kid, your campus is wherever you want it to be. You don't go to college. College goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. You schedule classes around your schedule, and all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. At Independence U, you'll learn from professional instructors with real work experience. You'll get personal support in school and employment assistance when you graduate. Get your degree, but keep your life. That's independence. That's Independence University. So if you're really smart, you'd call now.
Call 1-800-343-7292.
Independence U for an independent you.
Call 1-800-343-7292.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
A busy night in the Major Arena Soccer League tonight. Openers all around from coast to coast. Of course, Baltimore, the three-time defending MASL champions, opening tonight against the new Mississauga Metro Stars. And they are not much of an opponent tonight for the Blast. They are well into the second half of that one. In fact, that may have gone final now. The Blast, it's late in the fourth quarter, the Blast with a 10-3 lead over Mississauga in that one. The Wave and the Comets are doing battle up in Milwaukee tonight. That is a South Central Division matchup. The Wave with a 5-2 lead in that one. And then there are several other games this weekend. Another one going on, this is a bit of a surprise near halftime. The Heat leading Utica City FC 4-2, and then there are a couple of games out west.
Let's have a look at our stats tonight. So far in this one, Florida dominant in every aspect, out shooting the ambush you see, and that 11-7 is a bit misleading because a lot of those chances for St. Louis were very low percentage, low quality chances. This game has been a complete one-sided affair so far in favor of Florida.
Yeah, it really has, and those shots really not reflective at all of the flow of the game, if you will, and really how much the Tropics dominated. As we said, they hit 2 goalposts, they had a crossbar. Clark made a couple of big saves. I mean, it easily could be 6 or 7-0.
Yeah, it could.
And really be a runaway. As it is, 4-0 is a nice lead, but not a comfortable lead.
What's so encouraging about this performance is how few mistakes Florida is making, right? We saw the one giveaway from Laidley that played in Clayton Mathias. That was really the only major chance that St. Louis had, and it was still fairly comfortably saved by Hugo Silva. This has been as composed as we've seen from Florida since the franchise began operation.
Yeah, and I would expect much more of the same in the second half. A lot of high pressure, challenging the ball, trying to take advantage of St. Louis, that a team that is probably going to be playing on very tired legs over the final 30 minutes. That is to come, the second half here tonight in Lakeland. We will step aside for just a moment. It's the Florida Tropics 4, the St. Louis Ambush nothing. You're watching MASL TV.
The fabric in this bulletproof vest is so strong, it can stop a speeding bullet. And this biaxial braid fabric is so strong, we decided to build a hose out of it. And here it is, the brand new Pocket Hose Brass Bullet. So incredibly strong, it can stop these trucks dead in their tracks. Just turn on the water and watch the brass bullet inflate and expand to a full-size super hose. Then when you're done, turn off the water and it shrinks back down to a lightweight pocket hose. This new brass bullet hose will never tangle or kink. Never! Get the incredible 25-foot Pocket Hose Brass Bullet today for only $19.99. And you'll also get the Turbo Shot Jet Nozzle free. Order now and you can double your order. Just pay a separate fee. Toss the old hoses away and grab a brass bullet hose today.
Call 1-800-355-7430 to get your brass bullet hose. Call or visit brassbullethose.com. So call 1-800-355-7430. Order now.
Have you been denied credit or hit with high interest rates? A low credit score happens to many of us, especially if you've struggled with medical bills, divorce, student loans, job loss, and more. And millions of people are victims of incorrect items on their credit reports and don't even know it. This leads to a lower credit score. That's why you need credit repair now. We'll communicate with your creditors and the credit bureaus to address unfairly reported items, late payments, collections, charge-offs, and even bankruptcies. And that can lead to a higher credit score. Our proven process has resulted in past clients seeing on average 11 negative items removed from their credit report and a 40-point increase after the first 4 months in our program. Start working on your credit today. Call now to start repairing your credit score so that you can work toward getting the things you want, like a new car, new home, an education, or new job. Plus, call now and request your credit report and credit score for free in minutes.
Call 1-800-776-1642. That's 1-800-776-1642.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Well, we'll put you on the spot here, Evan Weston. If you're Everton, the St. Louis coach, what's your message at halftime after a pretty big beatdown in the first 30 minutes?
It's just got to be tighter, right? It's got to be more composed. We've seen on several occasions Florida forwards and midfielders operating with tons of space, especially this young man, Joanne Laidley, whose hold-up play was absolutely phenomenal in the first 30 minutes. The first things first, before St. Louis could even think about scoring a goal, it's got to be tighter on one end, and that will lead to opportunities on the other. Going forward, you want to see more runners. You want to see more of that pick and roll, that give and go kind of action. It was really just isolation for St. Louis in the first half. You want more of that combination play. But if it's not tighter and they're going to keep giving Florida all these opportunities to score on 2-on-1s and counterattacking opportunities, they've got no chance.
Guilherme, number 19, an impressive first 30 minutes as well, getting the start up front. If you're joined us late and wondering about Ricardo Dieguez and Freddie Mugin, the two top goal getters last year for the Tropics, they're still part of the team, but they are not dressed tonight because of injury. The good news is they do expect Freddie Mugin back on the two-game road trip next weekend to Toronto and Utica. Ricardo Dieguez, a different story, is going to need sports hernia surgery. It's a very minimal sports hernia, but it's a problem that actually goes all the way back to the outdoor season. It's never really gotten right, and they are now just essentially waiting for his insurance paperwork to clear before he goes under the knife, and once he does, he'll be out about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, you would think the absolute soonest you would see him is the 29th against the Seawolves, and I would think it'll be into January by the time we get to see him. But at the same time, as big a performer as he has been, if they're going to defensively play this composed and play this well, and again, there will be tougher competition down the road, but if they're going to be this composed defensively, they're not going to need a ton of goals to win a lot of games.
Yeah, it's been a very solid top-to-bottom performance for Florida at both ends of the Florida night, starting with Silva in goal, guys like Teixeira and others back on the defense. So, we'll see what is in store for the third and fourth quarters, but the Tropics, you can figure, will come out with a lot of pressure, and right off the bat they make a steal of the opening possession, although St. Louis will get it back now in their end of the field. Almeida will play it up for Manfoot, challenged by Arico, sliding tackle by Anthony, good play. Arico will keep it and feed down to Ferreras, but Victor will run out of space, and Almeida will track it down and recover for St. Louis. Clears it up, and Monolaris will intercept. Careful here. Gibson has it, but a whistle and a foul against Monolaris. That might have actually been a little fortuitous for the ambush, and in fact, I think Junqueira is saying exactly that to one of the officials. Why didn't you let us play on right there?
Yep.
Ambush need to generate opportunities. Here's Junqueira with it, being watched by Arico. Ferreras keeping an eye on Almeida. And now Teixeira will intercept, but taken right back by Santos.
Yeah, St. Louis going to have to be a little bit more creative with their runners here because they're just lobbing it in, and Florida is exactly where they're supposed to be.
Maicon Franca with it. We'll play it back to Lucas Monolaris, and the Tropics will pretty much go on a wholesale line change here.
Monolaris, sorry, Brian, I want to talk about just how important a player he has been for them as sort of the bedrock in defense. He's a guy who's he's not useless going forward. We saw him score a goal in this game. He's just such an important player for the composure. That's what we talked about. They needed a few more guys like him, and it looks like they've acquired them.
JT Thomas will play it back to Matthias, and now on the near boards to McGee. McGee Souza, one of the new Brazilian additions that the Ambush made in the offseason. They went down to Brazil, had open tryouts, and signed several players from the futsal leagues down there. Sousa, one of them. Here's Regat with it, and a long shot by Adamson goes well wide.
Now, see, they had a runner, though. They had Sousa making the cut, and the ball goes to the farther man, and you have a lower percentage shot. These are when I say tightening up, these are the sorts of things that, as a team tonight, Florida has gotten right, and St. Louis has mostly gotten wrong.
Just underway here, third quarter. Long ball down to Guilherme. One of the new rules also in the MASL this year is goalkeeper. Oh, here's a bad giveaway. And a long shot. Oh, and that one just misses as Matthias let it go from the yellow line.
Silva had that covered, though, all the way to the post. That's great goalkeeping. Really a poor giveaway by Berchet. I think that Matthias may have had another step in that before he had to shoot that ball, maybe get Silva to come out of his goal a little bit. That was strong play by Silva. Even if that had been on target, I think the goalkeeper for Florida had it covered.
St. Louis stepping up some pressure here.
This is smart by the Ambush. They need to create some advantageous opportunities at even strength. When Florida's been in their defensive shape, they've been unable to generate anything.
Long ball down to Laidley. Laidley will track it down in the corner. Clark comes out. Laidley battles in there. Rico will pick it up, a whistle and a foul, and they're going to call Laidley for being a little too juicy on the challenge in the far corner.
But you see Clark, he's antsy, right? He's got to come out and make that play because he knows there's no help coming.
Laidley sneaking behind the St. Louis defense once again.
I think Clark has played pretty well tonight.
Yeah, he has.
I don't think that there's anything he could have done about any of the goals.
He's not been the problem. Here is Toulouse, and we have a handball called against St. Louis.
Well, Florida really hasn't had any set-piece opportunities tonight.
Not a lot.
And interested to see what they do with this.
Yeah, do the restart here. If it was a little better angle, you might see Berche out there. He is the one ticketed to do a lot of that from the top of the arc or in that area. Here's Toulouse. Toulouse, he tried to just lay a through ball to Crane and never got through, and Clark finally covers it up.
Oh, it was very clever by Toulouse. It almost worked out for him. He's going to be a nice addition, just seeing him play here. Oh, and here we go.
A steal by Toulouse. Toulouse, and he's taken down, and that will be a blue card. Maybe a shootout attempt. We'll see, because that was last man standing.
Clearly a blue card, denied the goal-scoring opportunity.
So we'll see how they call it here, but definitely a penalty. Whether we get a penalty kick or not, we'll see. Well, it wouldn't be a penalty kick.
Well, it's a great block, and then he gets back to his feet. And an obvious blue card there, as easy as it gets for the referee.
And it is going to be a shootout attempt
here. It should be. He's clearly the last man. That's the right call.
And it wasn't inside the box, so it wouldn't be a penalty kick, but it'll be a shootout attempt, and Victor Ferreras will take it.
And Evertone putting himself into the game so that he can talk to the referee a little bit closer.
The actual rule is he's not the head coach when he dresses. Mark Stinson, the assistant coach, is actually acting as officially the head coach. Here is Ferreras looking for his second of the night now. He will walk in all alone on Casey Clark, and the rest of the players will run in from midfield behind him. Shootout attempt now for Ferreras. Here he goes. He comes in. Step over shot. Goal! Easy as you please, and Victor Ferreras has his second of the night. 5-0 Florida.
Very calm, very composed finish by this young man who continues to improve every year. Takes his time, great fake, gets Clark to jump just a little bit, sees which way he's going, goes to the other post. That's exactly how you teach it. And a deserved goal for Florida. They are romping the Ambush.
They are so far, but there is a lot of time left. But St. Louis needs a spark somewhere here, playing their second game in as many nights. And starting to show nice little backheel feed, and here's a chance. Almeida down to Gibson, shot, and Silva with his best save of the game. And he claps his hands in delight. Here's a ball into the box, knocked out of there by Ferreras playing defense. And Guilherme has it on the counter. Good step up that time by Duarte to break up that play.
For the first time tonight, Florida took their eye off the ball.
Yeah.
They started celebrating, they started feeling it, and what a play by Silva. Came out to the perfect degree. Gibson had to shoot it. He took a good crack, and Silva was just up for it. But that's the first time tonight that the Tropics have evinced a little bit of that devil-may-care attitude where, we've got a 5-0 lead, we just scored in the shootout, we're flying high. You said it, there's 25 minutes left in this game.
That's a ton of time in indoor soccer, no doubt about it. We saw the Ambush score 5 unanswered in the fourth quarter alone last January here in Lakeland, so this is not a team that looks like it has it in them tonight, but you get a little momentum, you get a little spark, and here's an opportunity again right from the top of the penalty arc now.
Three-line pass there by Florida. That will set.
Yeah, it's going to be actually at the yellow line because it was a three-line pass, not at the arc, correct. They were actually moving to the arc, the officials.
Yeah, I was wondering why.
I was
it was
too,
a three-line
actually.
pass.
Here's Almeida at the yellow line, lays it off in the corner. Man-foot, and again, Silva right there.
That's clever, but it's not clever enough to beat this guy. Pitching a clean sheet in his first start for the Florida Tropics, and they are thrilled to have him.
And that is a good save. He made it look easier than it really was.
Absolutely.
Here's Guilherme trying to chip it to himself. Guilherme in over the yellow line, shot, and Clark came out. As Guilherme tried to chip it over Clark, and Casey made a good save.
Sorry, Brian, got excited there. They could have called Souza there. He put a little forearm into the back and knocked Guilherme off balance just enough that he couldn't get a clean look and get that ball through over the head of Clark. I think the Ambush may have gotten away with one there.
Yeah, well, I told you that he looked great in practice this week, Guilherme up front, and he is not disappointed tonight.
Well, and he had that poor moment early where he missed that sitter that came off the boards from Berchet, but he didn't hang his head. He responded. He had the brilliant goal at the stroke of halftime, and he has continued to put together a great performance starting at forward tonight.
Ferreras pressured by Adamson. Franca gets it now to Ferreras. Thought about looking to get it ahead to Lately, decided to play it back to Arico instead. Ferreras gets it back at the center line. Had Arico making a little bit of a run, but Ferreras needed to get to the bench and did not put it into the offensive third. Silva out of his goal here. Plays it up to Franca, back to Berchet. Jose Luis Berchet, they call him El Bazooka because of his big left foot. Here's Lately. He takes a shove in the back from Santos and then trips over Mateus, who has it for St. Louis, and Lately returns the favor. Here's to Lute, ahead to Lately. Lately shot, hit the underneath of the crossbar, and they say it's a goal! Hit underneath the crossbar and apparently came down just over the line, and Lately has a goal and an assist tonight.
A goal he certainly earned, and I believe that the referee got this right. We'll see it again right here.
Yeah, we'll know for sure.
Watch the ball as it lands. Yes, that's a goal.
Sure, yeah.
Easy.
Great call by Kermit Quisenberry, the referee on the far side.
It looked like a goal live, and it was. And Lately has had an unbelievable game. I don't know that Florida had a center forward that was this dynamic in terms of both holding things up and getting things going as Joanne Lately, has been tonight for the Tropics. If they can keep him healthy for the whole season, there is a huge upside. Imagine him combining with Freddie Mugin at the top of this Florida offense. Tantalizing performance tonight by the Tropics.
Now, opportunity is knocked for several of these Tropics with Mugin and Diegas out of the lineup, and no one has stepped forward in a bigger way, no pun intended, than Joanne Lately. He has been terrific. So the Ambush will talk it over here with 8:54 to go. They get 2 timeouts a game, both sides, that's it, and Moreira deciding to take one right there to see if he can somehow compose his club over the final quarter and a half here.
Well, it has just been, you can see they're gassed. They're clearly tired. The game, first of all, the travel in this league is not easy. And then you play last night in Orlando against a brand new franchise with all that energy. You win the game, but you play all the way to the shootout. And then you got to come here and play a team in Florida that really does look like a legitimate playoff contender. That is not an easy thing to do. But at the same time, for the Tropics, you were presented with an opportunity to get a win. You're at home against a team that's in less than great circumstances.
Chance there by Regat, but
But they're taking advantage of it, right?
Yeah,
You have to capitalize on when the schedule gives you a gift, you have to take it, and the Tropics certainly have tonight.
Good defensive coverage on that chance by Reget by Lucas Monaleros. 6-0 Tropics. St. Louis trying to get one here to make it respectable and perhaps get themselves back in. This is a Florida team that knows all too well the moments of fury, as Clay Roberts likes to call them, when teams can get 2 or 3 quick ones when you lose your composure, and that has happened to the Tropics in the past. Happens to every team in this league, frankly. Some more than others. Both these teams play a lot of close games. Casey Clark going to come now, and St. Louis is going to go to a 6th attacker here. So talk about switching things up and shooting the moon here with 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Moreira has put on the 6th attacker jersey. Gibson with it.
This is a very early time in the game
why
to
not?
go to this.
I mean,
But I love it.
Yeah, they're
I
obviously not generating any kind of chances on a regular basis
Yeah.
with it. Here's Ferreras making a bid for the hat trick.
We were talking about football a little bit earlier, and there's so much talk about how conservative teams are. There's no reason not to do this. You're down 6-0. You're getting run out of the building.
Yeah, you got nothing to lose. That's
Might as well
sure.
give yourself. What's the worst thing that happens? You lose 10-0.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the same difference. So give yourself a shot. We saw last year the Blast did this against Florida very early in the 4th quarter, down by 4 goals, and came back and tied it. The same thing perhaps that St. Louis would hope to happen tonight.
This will be a restart for St. Louis from the top of the arc. Of course, as a 6th attacker, Moreira wears the different colored jersey, but he, of course, cannot use his hands in the field of play except in his own goal box. He still can use his hands there, but he cannot anywhere else on the field of play. Here's Almeida's shot and a goal. So St. Louis does break the shutout.
Good move by Everton.
And it's 6-1 Florida.
Now, that's a nice take here by Lucas Almeida. Beautiful. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the Tropics actually were as organized there. They usually use a 3-man wall from the top of the box, and they actually only had 2 men on the wall intact, at least. It was not an intact 3-man wall.
You see Silva really frustrated to lose his shutout there. He is a competitor. He is constantly talking, intense, focused. He'll be very frustrated.
Here's Laley with it deep in St. Louis end, and Clark covers up.
Looks like Everton's going to come back out as soon as he can.
And I'm sure he will. I think everybody on the Tropics was frustrated by that goal, not only Silva, but the field players who just did not get in position in a timely fashion. Crane will
they want to keep the ball as long as possible here because
make St. Louis chase and use up what energy they might have left.
Not to mention, the longer the Tropics have the ball, the longer Clark has to stay in the game.
Yep.
You don't have that man advantage against you, which of course is risky, but it does seem to be St. Louis's only way back into this one.
A little bit of a misplay there and a push or a handball, I guess they will call against Souza. So Florida will get a restart in front of their bench or close to it. Tropics will be back in action here at the RP Funding Center on December 14th against the Harrisburg Heat. That is the start of a 3-game homestand. Milwaukee will be in town on the 22nd of December. Our first ever look here in Lakeland against Milwaukee, the longest continuously operated soccer franchise in the United States, indoors or outdoors. They have been around since 1984. Here's Toulouse. Toulouse at the yellow line, leaves it for Guillerme. Guillerme will play it back now for Beershey. The homestand will wrap up on December 29th, Saturday night, with the first visit and first match of 6 this year against the Orlando Seawolves. So that should be a lot of fun over the holidays. Here's a header towards Clark, and he goes up to take it out of danger's way. Pressure in there by Arico.
Love this from Anthony. He's had success doing this tonight, hustling, pressuring, force the opponent to make a mistake.
He and Dwayne Lately are on the all-hustle team.
Yes.
Here's Toulouse with it.
And Enrico has to do that. He's wearing that armband. He is the captain tonight. He is part of that leadership group.
And
he's
really
setting that example.
He really is the emotional leader. He
Yes.
plays this game with such fire and such passion and emotion that, and mostly in a good way. Every once in a while it can get the best of him, but most of the time it's channeled in a very positive way.
And you'd rather have a guy like that, even if it does lead to a mistake, who has that emotion and that fire.
Here's Lately fighting through. Shot on Clark's save. Lately looking for some help in front. We'll play it back instead to Montoleros.
What a game that young man has had tonight.
Boy, he's been tremendous. He really has. And he'll head to the bench for a well-earned rest. Franca with it. Maicon Franca. Spot shifting tonight for the Tropics along with Garrettson Crane. Montoleros trying to direct a little traffic, lays it back to Silva.
It's been a great response by Florida. Everton has not been able to come out here for 3 minutes. The Tropics have completely held possession. They've locked the game back down after, I think, maybe being caught by surprise a little bit by Everton's move there to bring himself on as a sixth attacker.
Not necessarily the most exciting for the fans at the moment here because it's all about possession and, as you said, not allowing Everton to get back out, taking the opportunity to make St. Louis chase. So Everton will call Clark to the bench and we'll get back onto the floor. Here's the sixth attacker again.
It took over 3 minutes, but St. Louis got what they wanted. But that's a lot of time that they've lost.
Everton tries to get it to the Santos. Comes back to Everton at the center of circle. Left side now to Mateus. He's been quiet tonight.
Love this zone that Florida's dropped into. Sort of a 1-2-2.
Guilherme with the long ball, and that's going to trickle just about a foot wide. Guilherme looking for a second. Everton chases it down. Has it with Manfoot out at the center line.
They're going to put a Rico at the top of the zone here for Florida.
Yep. And he knocks it out of play, almost made the steal as Adamson was going to get it back to Everton at the midfield area. Here's Manfoot. Everton now. Mateus. Speed on top for the Tropics with Rico and Franca out there. Check that's Toulouse, but he's pretty speedy as well. And here's a push and a foul against the Tropics as Gibson was taken down just outside the yellow line.
Fans don't like it, but I think that's the right call there.
Not a ton of contact, but
just enough. A little bit too much, yep.
Quickly put back into play. Here's Mateus with a shot, and that goes out of range, but stays in play and back to Everton. Gibson on the right side to Manfoot. A lot of people don't really realize how physical the indoor game can be. Here's Gibson at the top of the box down low. Shot, and I think Silva got a piece of it as Adamson made a bid on the near post. Shot just goes over the top of the net, comes back out to Almeida. But we've seen it even, as you pointed out a couple of times, Evan, with a guy like Juan Lately, who's 5'3", but the reason his play has been so spectacular tonight is it's been physical.
Yeah, he's hold-up play, right? You want to create space for your teammates.
Silva with a save on the shot by Junqueira.
That's too easy. Pepe had a guy down in the corner there. I believe that's Adamson, although I'm not 100% sure. I can't see from here, but he had another man he could have gone to along the boards and instead took the shot himself in a low percentage area.
Silva making a bid for his own goal. He can throw it over all three lines, and this year that is legal. Play on, says the officials, as Matias complains.
Yeah, it was Adamson over there who I think was the right decision there, and Pepe just didn't spot him or thought he had a better opportunity in his own.
Here's Almeida. Gives it over to Everton from distance, and a good save by Silva. Those low shots, they're actually harder saves to make than the shots that head towards the top of the net, and Silva was down in a hurry on that one.
Think about his vision, right? So he's got 4 or 5 different players between him and Everton who's shooting that ball. That ball is coming at the ground. he's got to track it as it's bending away from him through those players and lay out full body extension to make that play. That's an absolute hero. We'll get another look at it here as Everton puts everything he's got in there. Look at that skim the court. That's a great save by Hugo Silva.
And
just lightning quick instincts.
Maybe the best part about it was no rebound.
Yep,
He
covered.
absolutely just hoovered it right in front of a couple of St. Louis players. Lucas Almeida was one that was there to tap in any of the garbage that might have been left over, and instead Silva just hugged it right to his chest and made sure there was no opportunity on a rebound. So, yeah, Hugo Silva has made a very nice first impression, not surprisingly here tonight for the Tropics. They were really excited to get him in the offseason. For some reason, in Harrisburg last year, they thought Silva was part of the problem, and he really was not. They lost a lot of talent off that team that was a playoff team 2 years ago when Silva was the 5th best goalie in the league in terms of goals against average, at least. Twice that year, in fact, in the Tropics rookie season 2016-2017, he held Florida to 2 goals. So, I mean, not that Florida was high-flying by any means, but anytime you hold a team to just 2 goals in this league, you've done something pretty impressive. So the Tropics know all too well how good Hugo Silva can be. So who knows, maybe Silva will get on the score sheet too. He made one bid there and wasn't all that far away, but nice that the Tropics have stepped up tonight, a bunch of players in the absence of Freddie Mugin and Ricardo
No, this
Villegas.
has been a team performance, and we saw it with offense early, and now Silva coming up with a couple of big stops. If you're going to win a game like this, if you're going to make the playoffs in this league, which is very difficult to do, you need you can't be weak in one area. You've got to have strength up and down your entire team. You've got to have depth.
And especially difficult in the South Central because it's the only 5-team division in the league. Every other division is 4 teams in the playoff format in the MASL. And heck, we don't really need to talk a lot about playoffs in December when they don't come until
first game
April.
of the year, yes.
Yeah, here's a chance now, 2-on-1, Franca. He's got Toulouse with him. Franca tried to put it in front and maybe was a little late. Now Toulouse tries to fight through, and he bangs into one of the ambush players, and that is Junqueira, who goes down, and Toulouse going to be whistled for
I don't
foul.
know if his momentum would have allowed him to. If he could, I would have liked him to cut that ball inside a little bit and try to get, instead of swinging so wide of the post. Again, he was coming from the near side, so I don't know if his body could have made that turn, but it seemed like there was more space in front of goal ahead there for Icon Franca.
So Lute with some pressure and a push and a foul on Toulouse as he took Almeida down there on the near boards. Just to finish the thought on the playoffs, the playoff format is unchanged. Each of the top 2 teams in the 4 divisions will qualify for the postseason. So 3 teams in the South Central will be left out, and that is different than the other 2 when obviously there's only 4 teams in each division. And I think the Tropics may have just been whistled for too many men on the field.
It looks like it. They had 7.
You're not allowed that many.
One more than you're supposed to. And they'll show Florida a blue card for it.
So St. Louis will go on the power play here, first of the night for the ambush.
And they have to convert this. I mean, absolutely must if they have any hope of coming back here.
Just over 20 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, so of course the penalty time would carry on to the 4th. So it is too many men on the field as we suspected, and the Tropics were over there talking amongst themselves about the bad line change. So it'll be Ruiz coming over to serve the penalty. But so the man down unit for Florida here is Rico on top, Teixeira, Guilherme, and Lucas Montoleros. They play kind of a diamond formation.
Yep. 1-2-1 with Silva behind him.
And with Everton out there as the 6th attacker, it's almost like a 2-man power play. Here's Manfoot down low, and he misses over the crossbar and out of play.
One more pass, St. Louis. Just one more pass. It's been their problem all night, right? You know, get the ball to feet. Oh, I'm in a decent spot. Let me take that shot. No. One more pass.
Especially when you have, in
6
effect,
on
a
4,
two-man advantage, right?
Absolutely.
Silva will throw it the length of the field or as far as he can, and Rico will try and track it down. He's got a couple of shorthanded goals, tries to get it over Casey Clark, and had a good idea, but got it just over the crossbar and out
shorthanded.
of play. Yeah. He had
talk
2
about
last
it.
year in the shorthanded
would have been An absolutely terrific goal for Rico. And again, Silva creating offense from the goalkeeper position.
So time will run out here on St. Louis in the third quarter, but they do get on the score sheet, but they have plenty of work left over the final 15 minutes. That's what's left here in Lakeland, Florida tonight, as the Florida Tropics open their third season in the Major Arena Soccer League. It's Florida 6, the St. Louis Ambush 1. Back with the fourth quarter in just a couple of minutes. This is MASL TV.
And this bulletproof vest is so strong, it can stop a speeding bullet. And this biaxial braid fabric is so strong, we decided to build a hose out of it. And here it is, the brand new Pocket Hose Brass Bullet. So incredibly strong, it can stop these trucks dead in their tracks. Just turn on the water and watch the brass bullet inflate and expand to a full-size super hose. Then when you're done, turn off the water and it shrinks back down to a lightweight pocket hose. This new brass bullet hose will never tangle or kink. Never! Get the incredible 25-foot Pocket Hose Brass Bullet today for only $19.99. And you'll also get the Turbo Shot Jet Nozzle free. Order now and you can double your order. Just pay a separate fee. Toss the old hoses away and grab a brass bullet hose today.
Call 1-800-355-7430 to get your brass bullet hose. Call or visit brassbullethose.com. So call 1-800-355-7430. Order now.
Have you been denied credit or hit with high interest rates? A low credit score happens to many of us, especially if you've struggled with medical bills, divorce, student loans, job loss, and more. And millions of people are victims of incorrect items on their credit reports and don't even know it. This leads to a lower credit score. That's why you need Credit Repair now. We'll communicate with your creditors and the credit bureaus to address unfairly reported items, late payments, collections, charge-offs, and even bankruptcies. And that can lead to a higher credit score. Our proven process has resulted in past clients seeing on average 11 negative items removed from their credit report and a 40-point increase after the first 4 months in our program. Start working on your credit today. Call now to start repairing your credit score so that you can work toward getting the things you want, like a new car, new home, an education, or new job. Plus, call now and request your credit report and credit score for free in minutes.
Call 1-800-776-1642. That's 1-800-776-1642.
So St. Louis will start on the power play here, and Casey Clark, at least for the moment, is back in goal because the Tropics will have possession here to start the fourth quarter, but they will obviously get Everton back out there as the sixth attacker as soon as the opportunity presents and have that 6-on-4 man advantage for almost a full 2 minutes, about 1:40 left in the penalty.
Bottom line, though, Brian, this has been a professional performance and a really strong one for the Florida Tropics. The one goal they gave up, I think Everton surprised them a little bit by coming out there as the sixth attacker. They gave up a goal on a restart that wasn't as clean as they're accustomed to. But since then, though, the Tropics have been just as composed. They killed off 7 minutes easily.
Here's a takeaway, and Arico has it. Arico, but good play by St. Louis, Douglas to Santos. This is actually Teixeira with the opportunity now. Being watched by Mateus, and Mateus will take it away, get it to Everton. Little miscommunication. Comes through the box, and DeSantos will end up clearing it. Montoleros steps up.
How about this, though, Florida?
Montoleros tries to get it through to Teixeira, and Everton there to just pick it up off the turf.
Florida 4-on-6, and they nearly create a couple of chances. And they've wound down a lot of this penalty.
37 seconds in the man advantage. Gibson up high. Down low to Adamson. Now Adamson across the court. Deep in the corner to Manfoot. Manfoot tried to get it to Adamson on the cut through the box. Here's Almeida. Down low to Manfoot again. Manfoot has Gibson in front. Here's a long shot that is wide on the near post.
It's better ball movement, though, by St. Louis. Trying to get it to Gibson in the middle of that diamond. Here they go.
Gibson actually had some space there. Loose in front, and Silva can't control it, and they are going to call it a good goal.
Well, Silva screaming that he was fouled here. And frankly, I think he's probably got a case. Either that or he just dropped the ball.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of contact. There was a lot of English on that
ball. There was 1 second left on the penalty, too.
Yeah, so it'll go down as a power play marker. Let's take a look on the replay.
Watch here. Is it Gibson? No, that's clean.
Yeah,
I don't think there was much there from. That's just a mistake.
Not enough,
A very rare mistake, but a mistake nonetheless from the goalkeeper Hugo Silva, who had been otherwise spotless tonight. That is one that he will very badly want back.
And you could see it come off the end boards with a funny kind of a spin on it, and Silva just not able to collect it.
He knows he's got to catch that ball.
Oh yeah, for
He's-
sure.
he's-
Yeah, for sure.
That's the kind of play he's expected to make, and he will make 99% of the time.
So St. Louis at least hanging around here. He's cut it to 6-2. Here's Manfoot.
These next few minutes feel crucial,
Yep.
Brian. I
Yep.
think down to about 10 minutes.
Yep.
Florida's got to keep St. Louis off the scoreboard. I love the move by Everton to go to the sixth attacker middle of the way through the third quarter.
He's back out there as the sixth attacker again. Here's St. Louis, good counter chance. Shot Silva with a very good save.
Yeah, there's some redemption for Hugo, and you knew he was going to get the next one after the mistake that he made. Watch him diving. It's a good shot. That's a really strong take there by Thomas. And just a great save by Silva diving to his
Ferreras
left.
with a challenge, and he will be whistled for the foul. That was J.T. Thomas that had the good scoring opportunity for St. Louis. Here's a restart. Oh, and a chance for the Tropics, but they say they'll do it all over again. So Rico denied there.
Yeah, these next couple minutes are going to be tense.
If St. Louis gets one here,
they're going to be tense.
The Tropics going to be back on their heels a little bit.
They got to
They
get in
might
that
be
zone
anyway.
here.
Here's a chance in front. Silva with a save on the redirect.
That was great
Nice
by
save
St.
Hugo.
Louis. Florida was very slow to get back on defense in transition. They weren't set. Great ball movement by the ambush. They look alive now. This is not over.
Just going to say they have some energy that we have not seen here over the first 2.5 quarters.
Tropics have to set their defense. They've been so composed all game. That's just a great one-on-one play there by Monalaris, and it gives Florida at least a little bit of breathing room.
Arico tries to find some room down the right side, looks to make a bid from distance to catch Everton out of the net, but it sails high and wide. Everton will bring it up over his own yellow line here. Gets it on the near side to Manfoot. The new rules this year about the goalkeeper not being able to come over midfield, do not apply to the sixth attacker, in case you're wondering. Here's a chance for the Tropics. Oh, they had a 3-on-1 if they took it. Instead, they tried to get the distance, and Everton, despite his
he's selling
many
out.
years in the MASL and the Arena Soccer, was able to get back and
not to mention he's
make
not
the
100%
save.
right now,
No.
and there he is,
Yeah, right.
busting his butt down the pitch and diving out to stop that goal.
Here's an intercept, long shot blocked by Teixeira. Toulouse with it. Toulouse tries to play it off the boards to himself. Good play by Everton.
Everton is so good. He's such a technical player. He's so smart. There's a reason he's a head coach. He knows exactly where to go. One of the most experienced players in this league.
Signed a 2-year extension with the Ambush in the offseason. This is going to be his last year as a player, as Gibson is denied, but is with the organization for 2 more years. And that's a good move. There's a shot and a goal. Gibson from about 50 feet catching Silva, perhaps a little deeper in the net than he might have been, and St. Louis has pulled to within 6-3.
Well, this came out of nowhere, didn't it? You got Gibson there with just lots of space. He turns, and that's a great finish. Silva, I think maybe misread it coming off of him. That's a ball arcing up. That's a great finish by J.J. Gibson. And now, again, Florida taking their eye off the ball a little bit, not setting that defense. Gibson with too much space, and suddenly this is a manageable deficit for the Ambush.
Yeah, 10-18 is an eternity in this sport. Goals come in bunches very often, and they have started to come for St. Louis. Clark back in goal for the moment, but it won't last long as St. Louis on the intercept.
Florida, after the first goal, they did such a great job in killing clock and holding possession. They have not done that since.
Loose in the box, and St. Louis going to finally be whistled for a foul in there.
It's been long overdue.
Lucas Monolaris, one of them taken down, so he will get the restart here, being watched closely by JT Thomas.
And Clay Roberts will be very frustrated that this game is not over, though. You were up 6-0 halfway through the third quarter, and for it to be 6-3 here with 10 minutes to go is not going to be acceptable for the head coach. Let's see what this conversation is about.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the officials, Kermit Quisenberry and the rest of the crew getting together to, unless it was a fourth foul against one of the ambush players, I don't know. Clay Roberts is wondering the same thing on the far sideline. 4 fouls in the same half against the same player results in a blue card. But I don't recall that there have been that many fouls against St. Louis to have any player with 4. I don't think there was any kind of a substitution infraction or anything of the sort, so I don't know. I really don't have any idea. I guess it has something to do with Everton being on the floor as the 6th attacker. They're going to send him off. Apparently saying that he wasn't on the field legally at this point.
Yeah, he is furious.
Yeah, he's not happy at all.
Yep. They're going to take him off here.
He and Clay Roberts played together in Philadelphia in the old MISL. They were teammates for a season.
With the Kicks?
Yep, the Philadelphia Kicks, reliving some old times in the tunnel before the game tonight. Yeah, it's a foul against St. Louis. Clearly, Monolaris taken down by, but that's irrelevant to the call. At that point, Everton came out onto the field. He and Clay Roberts talking about it a little bit on the sideline and having a chuckle over it.
Coach Roberts says, "You know the rules."
Yeah. Well, they are good friends, and as I said, enjoyed catching up with each other. You see the
smile cracked by Everton there talking about that.
So the Tropics will put it in play here with 9:56 to go in the fourth quarter. Of course, St. Louis went to overtime last night and eventually a shootout in Orlando, winning there 5-4. Still a lot of work to get to that point tonight, but they have life here in the fourth quarter. Ball stays in play to Monolaris. Monolaris got some room to run. Gives it up to Guilherme. Now back to Monolaris.
That was great pressure by Justin Stinson and an even better job by Florida. Somehow sneak their way out of it. And now this is a crucial period. They can just kill off a few more minutes. That puts so much more pressure on St. Louis.
Yeah, the clock is St. Louis's second biggest enemy right now.
And it is the Tropics ally.
Clark comes out, plays it to Monfoot, who heads it into midfield space, but Ferreras tracks it down.
Clark should catch that ball.
Yeah, I'm not sure he had every opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Teixeira battles along the near boards with Stinson.
Stinson's been key to this. He's been a live wire, going after the ball, creating that pressure, because St. Louis has to possess in order to get that 6th attacker on the floor, and they've had no luck. I mean, absolutely nothing offensively without it. They have to go to that the rest of the game. They know that. And as long as Florida can play keep away, they're in good shape.
Knocked back into the Florida end. Arico will play it off the boards to himself. He's taken down. Could have been a 2-minute blue card there.
I would have shown it there. That was
pretty flagrant.
Thomas just throwing the hand up to block Arico's progress. I think they're lucky that they didn't get carded.
JP Reyes plays it into space. I think he thought Guilherme was going to be up there, and Guilherme was heading back towards the midfield line. Still 8 minutes plus here in the fourth quarter. Everton will be checking back in here pretty quickly, I'm sure, as Clark sends his teammates downfield and will run to the bench. So Everton will come on again as the 6th attacker. Here's Mateus. Mateus, left side to Almeida. Adamson, and boy, he'll send that halfway to Alturas. So 7:56 left. We've got a timeout on the floor. It's the Florida Tropics 6, the St. Louis Ambush 3. Back with the finale in just a moment. You're watching MASL TV.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. In the park on a bench, on the beach on a towel, or on your couch with your kid, your campus is wherever you want it to be. You don't go to college, college goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. You schedule classes around your schedule, and all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. At Independence U, you'll learn from professional instructors with real work experience. You'll get personal support in school and employment assistance when you graduate. Get your degree, but keep your life. That's independence. That's Independence University. So if you're really smart, you'd call now.
Call 1-800-343-7292.
Independence U, for an independent you.
Call 1-800-343-7292.
St. Louis with 3 straight sixth attacker goals, starting with Lucas Almeida's race start at 7:44 of the third, and then Gibson with a pair here in the fourth. His first one at 1:40, the second at 4:42, and that's where we stand 6-3 with just under 8 minutes to go in regulation. Can St. Louis continue the rally here and maybe extend a second straight game to overtime? We'll see. Clark back in goal here, but St. Louis will quickly take possession, and Clark will quickly head to the bench. Adamson will wait for Everton to get on the field. Adamson with it at the yellow line. Teixeira in there to challenge, and Manfoot will come out of there with it, but here's a steal. 2-on-0 and a shot, and just wide. That was Anthony Arico who missed it. You'd think if the Tropics can get just one, it would be enough right from the top of the arc. Arico tries to go short side, and another post for the Tropics. That's at least their third tonight.
Yeah, they'll be a little frustrated not to have more than 6. This score does not indicate the degree by which the Tropics dominated this game until Everton flipped the script by putting in the 6th attacker, and they've got an entire quarter now without giving up an empty net goal.
Yep, and have put 3 in themselves. Here's Everton with it at the yellow line.
I mean, it was a last gasp strategy, and so far it has worked as well as it could possibly be asked to. But they've got to find 3 more, and they've got to keep Florida from getting an empty netter for another 7 minutes.
Everton with it inside the yellow line. Not a real good ball that time on the far side to Mateus. He gets it back outside the yellow line.
This
Rico
is better
for Ferreras up
Florida.
top for the Tropics.
They've got to stick to Gibson. Somebody's got to be around him at all times. He's been the danger man down the stretch here.
Good block by Ferreras. He will head to the bench on a line change. Toulouse will come out. And Toulouse off the bench will make the intercept, actually. Gibson and Toulouse battling at the yellow line, and Toulouse will play it back into the midfield area now as Arico still out there. He loses it to Gibson. Manfoot picks it up, being watched by Teixeira. Here's Gibson with a shot, and that was a rocket that Silva goes low on and to make the save.
Nice pop from the crowd there, too, for it. Now the Tropics really would like to respond here and just put this away.
Here's Ferreras. He's looking for a hat trick. Everton, of course, forced to stay in goal now.
Clark is trapped on the bench. There's nothing that they can do.
Silva in no particular hurry as he comes over the yellow line and gives it up to Monaleris and back to Silva.
A huge opportunity to grind some clock out and kill this game off.
Long ball down to JP Reyes, and Reyes loses it to Manfoot.
A bit of a heavy touch there by JP. He had the right idea to come get it off the board, but his toes betrayed him.
Just over 5 minutes to go. St. Louis still chasing 3 here in the fourth quarter. Tropics took a 6-0 lead midway through the third quarter and have not scored since.
Still plenty of time here
Here's
for St. Louis.
Rico.
Oh, here we go.
JP Reyes with a long ball. Reyes has got a goal. He scores! Finally! JP Reyes from about 180 feet.
St. Louis played 18 minutes with a sixth attacker and didn't give one up. You might be watching and wondering, well, why don't teams do this all the time? This is why.
Yeah, it's high risk, high reward.
This happens usually faster than 18 minutes most of the time. And for JP, a really nice play there. Just struck, he didn't try to kill the ball, just struck it calmly, knew that he could put it on target, and that should just about wrap this up for the Tropics.
So a 4-goal lead again for the Tropics now inside 5 minutes, and you're right, I think fans here, and it looks to be a record crowd. We have not gotten an attendance figure tonight, but could be around 3,000 or so enjoying the action. And what looks to be a third straight home opening win, but we'll see. Hard to imagine there'd be 4 goals left in this St. Louis attack, but they have the sixth attacker again. Everton gets it on the left side to Manfoot. Just a shot from distance by Mateus, and the Tropics, for the most part, doing a pretty good job keeping St. Louis at distance. One of the Gibson's goals came from 50 to 55 feet away.
Really, the only one that was really all that close was the one that Silva dropped into the net.
Yeah, and the other was a restart,
right.
So, yeah.
And St. Louis haven't had many chances from that close. They've been clogging the passing lanes very well. Oh, boy.
Good steal by St. Louis. Chance on top. Here's a shot and a goal. Bad giveaway by the Tropics, and Justin Stinson makes them pay.
Yeah, as soon as that ball was given away, it was in the back of the net, and everybody knew it. Almeida does the right thing, gets his man some space by drawing the defender, and then this is as simple as it gets. Stinson just dropping into the space, and there you go.
And if Stinson wasn't converting, Adamson was right there on the doorstep as well.
Yes, he was.
Tropics caught on the giveaway, so St. Louis back within 3. Still 4:09 to go. Definitely not over yet. Reyes will look downfield and finds Guilherme. Couldn't get it to Ferreras, but it rolls to Teixeira. Header to Ruiz, and he's taken down hard. And that'll be a restart for the Tropics at the yellow line. Let's see if Berche may come out and take this one. This is kind of his territory. I guess he's going to stay on the bench, so Ferreras will do the honors.
They're going to try and kill some clock here, Brian. They're not entirely interested in scoring. They want to grind this out and end it. And that 7th goal, I mean, that's why that was so huge. Now they still have the 3-goal edge.
Down to Guilherme, and Monaleras picks it up.
Keep the ball. There you go. Nice and
Reyes.
easy.
Yep.
We talked a lot tonight about how this team needs to, be a little bit more professional and composed. This is exactly what we're talking about. They're doing a great job of it. Got to give Everton and St. Louis a lot of credit. They took a risk. It paid off for the most part, but the 6-0 hole just very, very deep for them to climb out of.
Guilherme will track down the loose ball in the St. Louis end, play it out to Teixeira. He makes a giveaway, and the long attempt by Souza goes well wide, and Silva will return it back to midfield. It'll stay in play fortuitously for Florida, and Guilherme will get it to Teixeira.
It was by design by Hugo.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Put it right at the base of the boards, and I'm sure that's exactly, he's practiced that 1,000 times.
That was terrific.
Here's Reyes, inside 3 minutes to go now. Not sure if it's quite time to break out the "Na-na, hey, kiss 'em goodbye" song, but
well,
might
in
not
this
be
in
too
this
far
sport,
away. Yeah,
you
there's
never
a
know.
throwdown.
Well, now they're getting frustrated.
That has got to be something, because that was pretty flagrant.
Well, Rico is asking for it.
Yeah, at least if not a blue, at least a unsportsman yellow card.
I think as a referee, this is not the first time we've seen some hard contact like that too from the ambush. I think that's a call they should have made.
Laidley taken down, no whistle.
And that was not a foul. That was Laidley getting crossed up there. But it's always interesting when you see a call that was maybe a little bit light, and then the fans are ready to jump. But that there was clean. Good no
Silva
call.
will bring it out over his yellow line now.
Ooh.
Played it ahead for Arico, and that took a bad bounce for the Tropics
Hit off the
over
back
the
of his head.
Yeah.
And out and over.
2:09 to play. Tropics looking to go 1-0 on the season. The loss would drop St. Louis to 1-1. Pressure by Ferreras. Manfoot will lose it to Guilherme. Here's Arico with a bicycle kick and a goal! Sixth attacker or not, what a beauty by Anthony Arico.
And what a class act. Doesn't want to celebrate against his former team, but he should, because this was awesome. Oh my goodness. I mean, somebody call up Sports Center. That is fantastic. This ball just sort of comes to him out of nothing. That is Gareth Bale in the Champions League final good. That is absolutely tremendous. And a class act the whole way through. He doesn't want to celebrate against his former team, but that was me. I'm climbing up on the glass and screaming to the heavens after that. A career highlight goal for Anthony Arico.
8-4 Tropics with under 2 minutes to go now. Now you can get out the na-na, hey, hey, kiss him goodbye song, I think. Guilherme picks up the assist, so a big night for Anthony Arico in his matchup, and here's a steal by Toulouse. Toulouse with a long ball and a goal. Tropics pouring it on now, it's 9-4.
And Toulouse getting on the scoreboard in his debut. He's been very, very good tonight for Florida, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really has been quiet in terms of the score sheet, but effective on the field, and a well-deserved goal. He's had a couple of that have been very close.
It's a clean one. Again, one-on-one defending has been terrific for Florida tonight. Clean pressure, steal, goal, Max Toulouse.
The Tropics right now would tie a team record for largest margin of victory in their now 3-year existence. They actually beat St. Louis 9-4 in their first year. And then on opening night last season on the road at Rio Grande Valley, they beat the Barracudas 10-5. And those stand as the largest margins of victory in Tropics franchise history.
Funny enough, you know, they've gotten these couple late goals, and oh, here's another one! Oh. But they've had the, oh, here we go. Oh, wow, Everton.
Guilherme denied.
What a save. But the scoreboard, I think, now accurately reflects how this game had gone.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Some of these late goals have sort of made up on the posts and things like that Florida had been a little bit snake bit by maybe in the first half.
I think that's probably true. The Tropics really had dominated the first 2.5 quarters before that.
7-4 would have, 8-6-3 would have favored the roadside a little bit there, or flattered them, I should say.
But St. Louis will be happy to come to Florida and split their games here.
Yeah, they'll be thrilled with the win last night. It was a great win for them. And again, this was going to be such a tough fixture for them against a good team, playing them in their home opener on fresh legs when they had just played and were traveling.
Big save by Silva again as Santos had a good opportunity. Inside 30 seconds to go, one last push here for St. Louis.
But this is one of those games that Florida had to win, had to take care of it, and they did.
Ferreras with a bid for a hat trick denied by Almeida from the mid-circle.
Funny when the countdown gets cut off for a stoppage.
So another opening night win here for the for the Florida Tropics, rather, as they win their third straight in 3 seasons. Perfect 3-0 in home openers, perfect 3-0 in season openers. And I think you're right, Evan, a just result, a 5-goal win here for Florida. And that will do it, as this big crowd at the RP Funding Center will go home happy tonight, waving their towels and celebrating a big 9-4 win over the St. Louis ambush.
Well, and a professional win, Brian. Just for that man, Anthony Rico, wearing the armband for the injured Freddie Mugin, had one of, I mean, we got a long season to go. That was going to be one of the goals of the year. An outstanding bicycle kick goal to put the icing on the cake. But in the first half, and really until the sixth attacker came on, just a complete one-sided domination by the Tropics. Everton, with those veteran wiles, making an early move. It looked like it was going to pay off, but Florida gets composed, they settle things down, and they take care of business in a game they really should have and did win.
And I'll be honest, there wasn't, like I would say, big worry about this game. Obviously, Florida knew they should win it, but the way things have gone against St. Louis over the first couple of seasons and the fact that they were without their two leading goal scorers, they knew tonight wasn't necessarily going to be a cakewalk, and they really, for all intents and purposes, when it's all said and done, did make it a fairly easy win.
Yeah, this was a comfortable victory. And look, I mean, in the MASL, the quality is at the point now where, as we see these statistics, and the shots, of course, are going to favor St. Louis, as they were taking tons of them in the second half. I don't think every shot in the game was on goal.
Probably not.
I have to think. But yes, it was a tremendous performance by the Florida Tropics here at home to just take care of business. There's no guaranteed wins in this league. Really, with anybody. And the Tropics, if they're going to make a playoff push in this 5-team division, look, I think they can do it. I think they're better than St. Louis. I think they're better than Kansas City. And Orlando, we don't really know yet. We're going to have to see. But this is a team that should make the playoffs this year, and I think this is a great start for it.
Hugo Silva and Ricardo Dieguez sharing a big hug and a smile there just a moment ago. Dieguez, of course, out with the sports hernia, so we'll see when he gets back in. But that really was one of the stories as well, as Cuttino got a goal. Everyone stepping up really and getting goals when you know you don't have your leading scorers out there, and the fans really enjoying the action here tonight. Here's Guilherme with that big shot right before intermission that gave the Tropics a 4-0 lead. Ferreras with his second of the night. Really, the guys that they needed to step up. And there's that tremendous goal by Anthony Rico.
That'll do it for us tonight.
So that'll do it tonight in Lakeland. The final 9-4 Florida.